So on a flight from Mexico City to Caracas, one devotee lady, local lady, she had made Prabhupada muri for the flight, puffed rice and peanuts, chanced, turmeric, asafoetida, normal things. And it was one of Prabhupada's favorite meals from childhood. So Prabhupada, prasadam was very important to Prabhupada. And on the plane, there was always prasadam on the plane. 1 hour flight, 20-hour flight, prasadam's there. And as soon as the fasten seatbelt sign goes off, I put down Prabhupada's table. Table. He's at the window. I'm in the middle, and Paramahamsa's next to me on this Venezuela Airlines. So I put the table down. I open up this piece of aluminum foil filled with the puffed rice preparation. And Prabhupada starts taking prasadam. After a few minutes, he goes, okay. So I put down my table. I transfer it. I split the amount in half for me, half for Paramahamsa, ripped the aluminum foil. So now we're eating. And Prabhupada's just sitting quietly, and we're eating. To be with Prabhupada's so unique, you just carried on. We're eating, and this young stewardess comes down, stops right in front of Paramahamsa. She reaches beyond Paramahamsa, grabs puffed rice out of my plate, and eats it. And Paramahamsa's eating, Prabhupada's sitting. No one's paying attention but me, in total shock that this woman just invaded my plate. And she looks at me, all happy, smiley, pretty lady. It's very good. She says, what is it? I'm still in shock that someone put their hand in my plate on a commercial airline. And I'm thinking, wow, super soul. Who does that? And I say, it's puffed rice. We're vegetarian. So immediately she says, I can go to first class. Prabhupada never traveled first class. One flight. He said, this is waste of money. He said, we can't even eat all these things. He said, what's the point? So she says, I can go up to first class, get a fruit. And Prabhupada, yes. She says, would you like anything else? I look at Prabhupada, because I was his translator for public people. Anything else? Hot milk. Always hot milk. I said, we'll all have hot milk and fruit. She says, okay, if I see anything else you can get, she said, I'll bring it. So she goes back. I look at Prabhupada. I said, Prabhupada, that is amazing. Thinking how she took his maha prasadam. They'd fight over it, my godbrothers and sisters. When I had that, and she just had it. And he says to me, women have natural tendency to serve. So he answered her going up front, but he didn't respond to the fact that I was saying a miracle just happened. He just, and no miracles, probably. It had nothing. So she took care of us. So I found that, an amazing event on its own. So I tell that story. So it was like in the 90s, I'm at a Prabhupada festival, one of the first Prabhupada festivals in New Dwarka. I guess it was around, I don't know, somewhere in the 90s or 2000 or so. And I talked for a few hours. And when I was done, one godbrother comes up to me, he said, can I tell you a story? And I go, okay. He said, I've done a lot of traveling Sankirtan. He said, down in Mexico and South America. And he said it was always very similar. He said, they're villages, not big cities. We would go to the towns and villages. He said, we're small. They always had a city center, maybe a fountain or something. So we would do Harinam there. And then after doing Harinam for some time and getting everyone talking, then we would go out in our Jeeps and we'd go into the countryside and just go one house. He said, you had to drive house to house. He said, so I was deep in the Brazilian forest. He said, in some village somewhere, he said, I stopped at a door and I knock on the door. A woman opens the door and says, Hare Krishna, because he's dressed in dhoti and kurta, so she recognized him. She said, Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna. She said, come on in, And he's in, and he's in a typical devotee house. He sees a picture here of Prabhupada, and he's just totally, he's in the middle of nowhere saying, how did you hear? And she said, well, she said, my first thing, she said, I was a stewardess on Venezuelan Airlines, and she said, I met Prabhupada on the plane. She said, and I, somehow or other, I just grabbed his Mahaprasadam. She said, she said, that was the beginning. So 20 years later, in the middle of nowhere, like they say, a needle in a haystack, Prabhupada joined these two people together. I see more and more, the purport to me is, Prabhupada wants us to see how this process works. He wants us to see that the process works. Not that we're all just doing this for 50 years and we're hoping for some result at the end. You know, hoping, well, maybe Prabhupada will come, maybe. No, there's no maybes. He shows us over and over again the power, the potency he has. I got to see it. I got to see it with the Mekkala's death. I got to see Prabhupada. I hear so many stories. This is our business, to believe, to have that faith. Prabhupada does miracles. He did a miracle that day. Bam, just like that. If she would have walked by, none of that would have happened. But something told her, stop, grab Srutakirti's puffed rice. I don't know. But I know, you know, we have to learn this process works. The result is there. Spend your life. Don't think it has to happen somewhere along, you know. You'll get the moments. We get the little boosts every now and then. You know, it's like when you're going up the stairs, somebody pushes you. It's a lot easier, I find nowadays. Sometimes my wife will push me. I'm like, oh, keep it up. You know? No, he's always giving us that push. Recognize it. Identify it. Accept it. Be grateful.